Hey guys, how's it going? We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, so we're just going to go through the bumper and we're going to get right into that chat. We got Chris Barrett in the chat. How's it going, man? Tony Fett is in that chat. How you doing, Tony Fett? We got Perry Comics. He's not lurking under there. Thank goodness. What's going on, Perry Comics? We got Big OFGCU42, baby. What's going on? And we got, it's not Cheddar, it's Chad R. How's it going, Chad? Glad to see you happening in that chat tonight. But let's get into our panel. First off, my co-host for every one of these things, and dang it, I forgot a beer. We got Comic Man Andy with a little bit more scruff on his face. How's it going, Andy? What's the beard update like?
Give us measurements. When you want measurements, give us measurements.
We're in full beard mode now, guys. I mean, this is combable. This is
combable.
Right. I got a measurement from the boss upstairs. We're at a full inch now.
Damn. Wow. How long was this? 1 week, 2 weeks? What is this?
3 weeks. This is
3 weeks. Man, it doesn't seem like 3 weeks.
There's so much more gray coming in now. Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. Just the beginning.
Just the stress of having to shave that beard has gotten to you. So you're going gray.
Nice.
Man, someone who's not showing their gray and doing a great job of it. We got JB Discovery Bay. How's it going?
You doing? How you doing, everybody? Thanks for having me on the show. I am really excited to talk Civil War. I got all my little post-it little notepads there. And then I'm ready to talk variants. Boy, you know me and variants, we go back. We go way back. Let's definitely get to it.
All right. So like I said, we got a lot to discuss tonight. If you guys tuned in last week, Drew Manchu, baby, his pick won our drawing last week. So he nominated Civil War, we just said, screw it. We're going to read the whole thing 1 through 7.
1 through 7.
And talking to you guys in our private chat, I think this is going to be maybe a little bit controversial. We'll see. So, as you guys know, Civil War came out, 2007, I believe. Marvel Comics, their big tie-in event of that year. But it's one of those events they had that kind of changed every time these big events happen, like, it's going to change the face of comic books and blah, blah, blah. And in my opinion, Civil War actually kind of did that. For years after Civil War, Marvel, they had quite the direction for a lot of their superheroes. More of that, which we'll talk about probably in the aftermath of our review. But we'll go ahead and start with you, Andy. What did you think overall of Civil War 1 through 7?
What did I think? I think I fell asleep in the first 5 pages when I started reading it.
Oh,
it's slow to start, guys. I mean, for me, this was slow to start, slow for me to pick up. And then when it did pick up and I started getting really pulled in, they kept cutting and going to something else. Chop, go to something else. Chop, go to something else. And I was like, stop moving me around. You're getting me into a story. Let me get into that story and stick with it. And I get it. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of things they're trying to do. But because they were moving around so much and doing so many things, I feel like the main storyline felt forced. Like they were trying to fit it in with everything that was going on. And I felt like they were trying to do too much.
Yeah, sure.
And to be honest, I give it like a B-. Will I read it again in a few years? Sure, but man, it was tough to get through for me.
Wow. Okay.
What about you, JB? I saw those.
Well, notes. Completely different. Yeah, I got lots of different notes. I actually sat down and read it all in one sitting. So when you get in a trade like that and you got some time, you just sit down and just plow right through it. I enjoyed it. I did not fall asleep after the first 5 pages. There were definitely. I have notes. There were parts. Hold on. Let me go back. Let me backtrack just a smidge. Anytime you can read something, whether it be a comic book or a book or a novel or anything, and you get to those parts that make you tingle, that just give you goosebumps or make the hair rise on your arm, that's good reading. Okay. And there was maybe 2 times in this 7 issues that happened. And I was like, whoa, that was kind of cool, man. That's going to change a lot of things. I really dug that. Now, what did this series do? It broke 2 of the most cardinal rules of everything, right? You don't talk politics and you don't talk religion, and they both come up in here. So, it was definitely a subject that had to be danced around, and it's subjects I don't want to talk about. To be honest with you, I'm reading comic books to not talk about politics and not talk about religion. So to have that introduced into the story was kind of a bummer. But I knew what the story was about, and I knew that that's kind of the premise of the story going in. So I'm ready to go through a couple of my highlights whenever you guys want to get ready to that. But overall, I really did enjoy it. Having not read it at all, only have seen the movie and how it was going to kind of interpret. I thought it was widely entertaining.
Nice. Yeah, my thoughts on it. It's Mark Millar written, Steve McNiven drawn. I love me some Steve McNiven art, and this thing did not disappoint me, I would say, overall. There's a few, in my opinion, iconic panels that happened in this. I only saved one panel, and it is our panel of the week, and big thanks to Andy for picking this one. I concurred 100%. It's stupid clone 4 robot getting smashed in the face by Hercules. So my pick and Andy's pick, and I'm guessing JB's pick for the panel of the week.
Yes, no, definitely.
Stupid core getting smashed.
That was the final. That's the final little tab I have here was that panel. But there are some panels earlier in this.
Yes, that are the two other iconic ones for me. I didn't save them. I should have. Were the Peter Parker standing there without his mask with the flash bulbs in the back. Him just saying any questions after revealing his identity, and that's the
number one.
Agreed.
Yeah, there it is.
Number one.
That was the ultimate hook for the series for me. I'm like, all right,
this page gave me tingles, and this panel down here, where they're like Jonah, and he's like falling to the floor. Great panels. That was my number one tab. When I got to that was the first time that I got a tingle. I was like, all right, that's good reading, man. That was something that was an event, something that has never happened. He says, my name is Peter Parker. I've been Spider-Man since I was 15 years old. Mr. Jameson, because he's on the floor. Any questions? I mean, it was awesome.
I had to read that twice because I'm like, did that just happen?
Did that just happen? Yeah, I've been waiting for that my whole life, and that just happened. What? Yeah. And it's not a dream. This is really happening in continuity. So yeah, that was something special. The next panel that I had, where when this thing first comes down, you don't know what he is, and then when Thor goes and blows a hole in Goliath, and then the reality of everyone's faces and shock and horror and like, whoa, dude, you're killing people now? Hold on. It took everything to a whole new level in the book, and from that point on, the story kind of changed. It got real serious real quick. Wait a minute. Dude, he just killed Goliath. And now things get real serious. What else do I got down in here? This one scene here, and it's mostly those final pages, that final page of an issue. This team that they're putting together, this Thunderbolts team with Venom, Bullseye, Taskmaster, Jack-O-Lantern, Jester, and a few others. But when they finally give you that first reveal of this team over here, right here.
Yep.
That got me. I was like, oh, these guys are going for the sick criminals right now. That's kind of cool. So that was something that, I was digging that. And then this, you're not supposed to have any religion in comic books, right? No politics and no religion. But this one right here, boy, this got me. When he said, hey, he can't talk. And he goes, no, he hasn't said anything because he's had a silver dollar under his tongue. And he goes, a silver dollar, I don't understand. He goes, guess that's 31 pieces of silver you got now. Sleep well, Judas.
Yep.
That was cool. That was what. All right, we're almost done. Cap versus Punisher. Come on, man.
Oh man.
Come on, man.
That'd be controversial. I knew it.
So Cap versus Punisher. First, bringing the Punisher in to begin with, and then he gets the info. He does the intel, gets the info. But then he's got these two criminals that pop off, and Punisher don't play around. He caps them real quick. Pat. And then Cap's like, what the hell are you doing? And he lays this wicked beat down on Punisher, who will not fight back. He's not gonna throw a punch on Captain America. And he says, not against you. So that got me. And then at the end, the major splash page of, I think, the entire 7 issues comes, I believe, in this. I think it's in issue 6, the end of issue 6, when it dawns on him. He says, if he could mimic Hank's voice and retinal patterns, he had full authority to do whatever he want. He said, the cells. And then they show the big battle splash. Here's all the characters from both sides that they can slam into 2 pages. And it's about to get down. And of course, The next page, Cap says, close your eyes, gentlemen. This might hurt. So, no, I dug this. I thought it was absolutely entertaining. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I've always been a huge Spider-Man fan, and he gets this one panel here against the Fantastic Four, against Reed Richards here, where he's ducking and dodging, and he's just laying the beat down on everybody. And Reed says, amazing. And he gets kicked right in the throat, and he says, no, spectacular. And then the final page was that busting up of that robot.
Mhm.
I thought this was totally wild, totally entertaining.
Mhm.
So I know that, Andy didn't dig it early on in the chat. He was like, I fell asleep.
I need a rebuttal.
I don't like politics. But no, I thought it was fun.
I mean, it was tough to get into at the beginning, but Carson and I had the same discussion at the very beginning backstage before we went live on the show. Was one of the tough parts about this was religion, politics.
Yeah.
You just don't look for that, and it's not necessarily welcome when you're looking for an escape. That was one of the reasons why I gave it a B- was that the way the story kind of hopped around, and I wasn't really a fan of their rendition of the Punisher. That being said, if I had to do a secondary panel of the week, it was this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I can get that to come out, that actually turned out really good. And that was, if they would have done Punisher the rest of that read that gritty and that dark, that would have come off a lot better in my opinion.
Well, if I have to grade this one, with all the superlatives I've just given it, I'd still put it right around a B. I give it about a B.
I give it a B-. I mean, we're not too far off.
Yeah, I'm probably with you guys, like kind of like right in between there. Like I said, I reading this again because I read it when it originally came out. This is the first time I've actually sat down and reread it, probably since I think what we said 07. And it was a pretty smooth read in my opinion for me. I was kind of a little concerned about 7 issues, like how long is it going to take me to read this? It didn't take long at all. I probably read the first issue one day, then had to go to work, and then issues 2 through 7 I just blew through like after work on another day, like no problem.
Yep.
So yeah, the other iconic panel moments for me was when like Cap's holding the shield like this and Iron Man's blasting him. That's like an exact shot they used in the movie. So I thought that was really awesome. And the other one involving those two is where just Iron Man just smashes Cap in the face. And then when like, because the whole Resistance is like, what just happened? Like Cap's just getting annihilated.
It even says to him, he says like, Cap, man, your jaw's about to fall off.
Yeah.
Why don't you just give up and I'll get you to a medic? And no, he wasn't having it.
Yeah. But the main reason I still kind of like Civil War and kind of hate it at the same time too is it had a lot of aftermath effects on the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
The ones that come to mind for me were like when Punisher started carrying around the Cap shield and was wearing the USA colors.
Mhm.
You had the schism of the Avengers, so you had the decent Mighty Avengers run. But what the best run around this time for me was the New Avengers run from Brian Bendis, where you had that like underground Avengers team with Luke Cage, Doctor Strange, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and a few others. And actually, I think I got it up on the wall there somewhere. Yeah, it's up there. I think Echo was on the team, Ronan. And then that's where they kind of start to unravel the Secret Invasion storyline, like right after they form the new Avengers. But I wanted to ask you guys before we move on, just one last topic to cover on Civil War. What did you think of some of the characterizations? Because we talked about how the writing from Mark Millar was a bit choppy on some characters at times. Like I feel like Cap and Iron Man were pretty much dead on for me, and at least in my opinion. Iron Man he went in that dark territory a bit too much. But guys like Reed Richards, for me, like he just felt like, why would you root for this guy at this point? So Reed, as much as a Fantastic Four fan as I am, I popped hard when Invisible Woman stood up.
Yes.
Like, you know what? I'm going Resistance. My brother wants to. You suck, Reed. The whole Thor thing was stupid. We're leaving.
I love the way that was written too. The way that you're basically reading her letter that she left next to the bed in excerpt as she's explaining to him, you've changed. Your head's out there. I got to go. I don't believe in this. Yeah, it was really well done.
I feel like that was one of the great pauses in the story for me, where they actually started with the story and then let it flesh out and then concluded it for me.
Yeah.
Like, what was that? 2 or 3 pages? I think that
it was.
I felt at the end of that, I felt good that, okay, they actually did what they said, what they wanted to be said. What needed to happen happened there. And then instead of cutting to the chase and going somewhere else, they concluded it and then moved on. I felt good about that portion. I really did enjoy that part.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So any final notes on Civil War before we move on? Andy.
I don't know, man. I'll read it again. I'll see where we're at, but I had kind of hoped for a little bit more, but yeah, it's solid B-.
I think if you watch Marvel movies, then you're going to enjoy this because you're going to see kind of where it correlates between where did they get some of that premise of the story. Obviously they mix some stuff up, but I would definitely recommend, especially if you're watching the movies.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying don't read it. Just me personally, that's what I gave it, a B-.
And if you guys really read and like this story, definitely go out of your way to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, because it's basically copy and paste of this story. So you get to play a video game version of this story if you want to, and it's actually really good.
Cool.
So if you guys are gamers out there, definitely go look for that. It's worth getting an older system. I think it was on like PS3, Xbox 360. All those types of, and actually I think you just buy it on like PS4 now and that stuff. But before we go on, we gotta go do a few plugs here. So first off, German Chew still has his contest going on where you can win that beautiful Hulk action figure. All you gotta do is wait for this video to upload or go to any other Comic Corp video and put in the comments hashtag Comic Corp Smash, and that will enter you automatically into the contest. So each time you put this in, you get 1 entry per video. But we upload so many videos, you can upload like 10 trillion times, basically. Because we have so many videos out there. So all you got to do, once again, any Comic Corp video, hashtag Comic Corp Smash will enter you into that video or into the contest. And then next up, I believe we still have some of those Dragonheart boxes left. So if you email onecomiccorp@gmail.com, there we go. So onecomiccorp@gmail.com for more information on the Dragonheart boxes for Moira. There was a video posted yesterday. So if you want to see a sampling of what is in these boxes, definitely go. Please check out that video. And I believe it was $39.99 for the Dragonheart boxes. All right, guys. That means we got to talk about our main topic of the night. As you saw by the title, it's Attack of the Variants, guys. So
Attack of the Variants.
So we can't really talk about the modern era without eventually covering the topic of variants.
We need to have the variant era. I mean, where would you think that the variant era really starts?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, JB, because
there we go.
Right here.
Nice segue, you like that?
I thought about going and trying to pull a few sources online, but it's like, I'm just going to speak to my personal history at this point. The only online resource I have a list of the most variants. We'll cover that after we're done, but nonetheless, in my perspective, and I think a lot of online sources actually agree, where did the variant craze begin? And I think we have to go back to, if I remember right, the year was 1986.
Ooh.
And we go back to post-Crisis. So Crisis on Infinite Earths just wrapped up. DC was rebooting a lot of their titles, albeit Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, so on and so forth. But there was a special spot for Superman because he had like 3 or 4 titles being relisted, reassigned. So Action Comics went to George Perez, who really wanted to do Superman. He wanted to do Superman #1 with his name on it, but they decided they needed to take somebody else and put that on there. So they put Perez to help kind of revitalize Action Comics, to his chagrin a little bit. But hey, I love me some George Perez, so luckily I just got that issue recently. But anyway, we'll continue. We had Adventures of Superman rebranded from the previous Superman run. That was from Marv Wolfman and Jerry Ordway. Which another phenomenal run. But this, to launch Superman, they had a 6-issue miniseries called Man of Steel, and that had 2 covers. So this is the B cover, and this was done by John Byrne, who did both the A and the B cover. So this seems to be the first instance of any type of B or variant cover that was completely different. Obviously, I'll say this too. We're probably not going to talk about the newsstand variants, any crazy like Canadian variants, no crazy things like that. We're going to talk about purely
completely different covers or some
covers,
different variation of the cover.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So, in my opinion, this was kind of where that seed was planted for variant covers. You got to go back to Man of Steel from John Byrne. I couldn't find any. If anyone else has any other reference, I'd be very happy to hear it because this is doing some research.
I was going to go with Jim Lee's X-Men #1.
You mean that's Jim Lee X-Men #1? Because that's next, baby.
That's next. So,
in my opinion, this planted the seed. But then in 1991, when Jim Lee and Chris Claremont Marvel's like, man, that Man of Steel, they did some cool sales making collectors and everybody else buy 2 copies. What if we did a comic where he had to buy 5 copies? So they made X-Men #1. This thing it was the gatefold cover, which that's up there on the wall, signed by both those gentlemen. And then they did 4 covers. Like if you put them all 4 together, it matches the gatefold, of course. Mm-hmm. So 5 covers total for this bad boy. And they sold 8.1 million copies of X-Men #1, the highest selling comic of all time. Right here, it doesn't get any bigger than this. So this thing, it went from a seed to the biggest, baddest tree of all time, basically.
Wow.
So once all the other markets and stuff kind of caught on to this, they're like, maybe we'll sneak a B cover in there, variant cover there. But when Jim Lee and his buddies went and formed Image,
yes, thank you. Yep.
You got all kinds of crazy variants, mythical ones like the shiny, insane gold one from Jim Lee, among others. Then they also did, of course, Gen 13 was the next one I can think of. And I'm still looking for those too. They had 13 variant covers for Gen 13, #1, whenever that went from miniseries to full-on series. So
J-Hood's dropping some knowledge too.
Yeah, so that, in my opinion, is kind of like the origins of what brought us to now in terms of variant covers.
The 90s was really the apex.
Yes.
Like, good Lord. Apex, man.
It's like they blew up the balloon, and then, unfortunately, in the late 90s, it popped right in their face.
Oh, yeah.
So
and I
bought
every Dynamic Forces variant that was out there. I was a completionist on more titles than I could ever handle. I learned a really important lesson back then is you can only spend what you have.
Mm-hmm. And shout out to J-Hood. I didn't have a copy of it handy. I think it's buried in there somewhere. But the McFarlane Spider-Man definitely has to be shouted out too.
Yep.
In terms of the gold cover, the black cover, the silver platinum cover.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All the other crazy ones they did for Spider-Man #1 whenever McFarlane made the jump from Amazing to his own Spider-Man #1. So definitely great call out there from J-Hood Creative. So what are some of your memories of collecting variants, Andy? I know we were talking about some American Entertainment, some Dynamic Forces earlier before we hopped in here.
Oh, man. The 90s being the apex. The Witchblade covers, Fathom was one of the first titles I remember. Cover A, cover B, cover C, cover D, like grabbing everything, grabbing the Dynamic Forces variants, and Image just ran with it. Image, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but Image is one of the first publishers that I remember recalling in the 90s where every title they released then from that point on had a cover A and a cover B, and a lot of times had a cover C as well at a minimum. Like every book that was coming out, every #1 had multiple covers for it right off the bat, right off the beginning. I bought all of them. I bought all of them, man. I dug it. I still kind of dig it. I mean, as an adult now, I know there's a point at which I have to cut my losses, or cut not really my losses, but move on. And now it's like I don't get into that kind of completionist collecting unless it's a story I'm absolutely in love with.
Sure,
I agree. Yeah. Question. Yeah. When was the first Virgin variant dropped? Because that's where I think you start to see when I got back into this collecting last December and I started looking at what's out there. Every time I saw, like a Virgin cover where there was no trade dress, I'm like, it's just art at this point. You're literally buying like art. And then I got into the battle lines, ended up getting all the different battle lines because I'm like, phew, for $4, that's like a nice art card. I could just throw that up on the wall and collect that as art. And then you start to see the pile and it gets outrageous as you start chasing artists and you start chasing variants and you start chasing everything. But that's a whole nother story for another day. But does anybody know what's the first Virgin variant that you remember coming out where there was no trade dress, where you're like, well, what the hell is it?
The
I don't
first
know.
one,
I gotta look at the back.
I really remember like really liking, like, I need that book. Which I don't know if it probably wasn't even near close to the first one, but I remember, and it kind of goes along with the convention variants as a topic too, which I was going to bring up eventually.
Yep.
I think it was around 2006 at the Aspen booth at a Wizard World, and it was a beautiful Mike Turner Soulfire #1, and it was just pure black and gold, and it was kind of similar to this with Mike Turner style art. Of course, it was an Aspen comic, so it had a beautiful Mike Turner art on it. But I just remember seeing a lot of just Mike Turner Virgin variants that were just absolutely stunning and beautiful. But I don't know exactly what the first instance would be. I'm trying to think of something earlier than that. But yeah, I wanted to go back to Andy talking about Dynamic Forces. So I remember, like, as a kid, getting the American Entertainment catalog in the mail. This is probably around like 95, 96. And that was the first instance I can remember of, an incarnation of store variants, basically. So they had their own, it became Dynamic Forces, which they're still around and doing their thing, obviously. So basically they just send you a catalog in the mail, and that's how you saw what their variants were. So like X-Files was big around that time in 95 and 96 through Topps Comics. And they would have like incentive issues for issue 0. Then they had like a -1 and a -2 issue that was like red and white, or it's like red and blue instead of black and white. So I'm like, oh, I need those because I need to collect these X-Files books. So as a kid, they would just like, you could send off and get these catalogs for free. And that's how you figured out what store variants were back in the day. So now, obviously, it's a whole different beast with books like, this is a Kevin Eastman store variant. Right. So I got the Ninja Turtle Shredder in Hell. Beautiful Kevin Eastman cover on that one. But I mean, obviously, this is a whole different beast today with each and every artist almost that's halfway popular has their own store now. Like I forgot to pull any out. Obviously, J. Scott Campbell's probably the biggest one that comes to mind in terms of having his own like comic book, retailer store where he sell it. Like he just did a big release for Harley Quinn this last weekend. Yeah. That's why he's selling like 4 different Harley Quinn covers. He doesn't even just do one, he does 4 for like per project he does basically.
What book has had the most variants now?
I'm glad you asked that.
I'm glad. I'm segueing, man. I'm just segueing you, setting you up.
So I found this article on zapkapowcomics.com. I should have posted the link in the chat, but it's zapkapowcomics.com, and they've actually had a top 10 comprehensive updated list here, JB.
Okay.
So I'll let you guys kind of guess. What do you think number 10 is going to be? We'll just keep going this way and see what happens. So number 10
of the most variant covers.
Yes.
Well, I think I know. I'm going to leave those from 1 and 2. Most 10 number of most.
So number 10 is U.S. Avengers #1. You want to know why? Because they did a state variant for every state, and then variants on top.
Wow.
U.S. Avengers. Yes, I remember that. Yes. Every state had its own cover.
So this is the one where apparently it says Tiger was from Arkansas. I remember Winter Soldier was from Indiana for some reason because they're like, oh, who's from Indiana? Oh, it was Winter Soldier. I'm like, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Cool, all right.
So they did obviously 50 variants. Plus, I think there was the Puerto Rico variant. Somehow after doing those, plus like probably a Scotty Young thrown in there and an art germ, who knows, 64 variants.
Damn.
At number 10.
At number 10. Chris Barrett is pretty confident that he knows what number 1 is.
Yeah, I think everybody. I forgot to dig out number 1, but anyway, whatever. We'll get there when we get there. Number 9, Harley Quinn #1 from 2016.
Harley Quinn 1.
They did 79 variants.
Shit.
79 variants between con exclusives, putting stuff on the shelves, store exclusives for other stores. Like if you search like Harley Quinn #1 on like probably like your Frankie's Comics, Scorpion Comics, so on and so forth, they probably have their own version of Harley Quinn #1 from 2016.
Wow.
Holy moly.
So, and then I was surprised number 8 was this low because I thought it was going to be top 3, but it shows, how much research I did beforehand. So, number 8, Star Wars #1. I figured that was going to be higher from the 2015 run that Jason Aaron relaunched and John Cassaday. Because I remember when that thing came out and looking at Midtown Comics website, it was just like a whole list. You know how it goes like cover A, cover B, cover Y, cover Z. They were going into like cover A, cover AB, cover AX, cover AY. I think they went into the B's. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
So thoughts so far?
Now, real quick, with all those variants, are any of those variants worth any more than the cover A would be right now in a 9.8?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. So I mean, we can talk about here in a little bit, retailer incentive variants and all that stuff, and the oversaturation of these things. We'll keep marching on here because we're
keep marching.
Number 7. Once again, surprised this was a little bit low for me. Detective Comics 1000.
Really?
Oh no, I thought that was top 3 for sure. I thought that was top 3 for sure.
So they had 86 variants for that.
Moly.
So I know there were like the initial like 15 or 20 that hit stores, but I think literally once again, kind of like Harley Quinn, you go to any of these like store websites, they're going to have a copy of Detective Comics 1000 that an artist did for them. So here's one I didn't anticipate, and I don't know too much about this book. So apparently, Vampirella #1 that hit this year had 89 variants. So you guys that one with the Perillo cover and that stuff on there. So we probably all have it in our collection. We already forgot about it,
right?
So I think I did see it on somebody's haul video the other day. Number 5 is Dark Knight: The Master Race issue 1. Yeah, I think that might be the one actually. So Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, the book that no one at all cared about.
Whoa, Dark Knight 3, The Master Race?
Yes. So you remember
is number what on this list?
Number 5.
Oh my God.
So it broke at number 5 with 91 variants.
Jeez.
Apparently, it says in the article it includes a 1 in 5,000 original art cover by Jim Lee. So if you ordered 5,000 copies of Dark Knight 3, you got an original Jim Lee piece of art. Allegedly. Didn't know that one. I bet hopefully that's worth at least 5 G's. All right, next up, it's actually a tie. They just put it 4 and 3 instead of 2 4s or 2 3s. So number 4, they consider a tie, but I would probably put this one above. Batman number 50.
The wedding
issue that didn't happen.
Damn wedding that didn't happen.
The wedding that didn't happen. That's what made me mad. Andy, do you know anything about Batman 50, the wedding that never happened?
Not enough.
You're lucky. Don't even.
You're
research.
lucky.
Yeah. If you like Batman, it'll just make you angry. So basically, like DC hyped up, the wedding.
Hyped it up.
Batman. I mean, they milked this thing for all it's worth. And then you like, all right, you get your A cover or whatever. You get home, you read the issue, and then he gets left at the altar.
Yep.
104 variants for that.
104 variants.
It's better than getting left in an alley.
Batman 50.
So number 3, and this one makes sense. The next 2 are almost kind of cheating in my opinion. Actually, number 1's super cheating in my opinion on this list. But 3 and 2, they each did this thing where basically if you were a local comic shop, you could make a deal where you basically take a picture of your comic shop or what have you, or like you put your emblem in, and you can actually get a version of the cover made specifically for your shop.
Walking Dead. No?
That's his top 3. So
Okay.
the third one is Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters, 104 variants. So I think that they had a kind of high price tag they charged the local shops on that one. So there wasn't a ton of buy-in for that one, but they still had 104 variants for that, where most of them, they were for comic shops.
Wow.
But at number 2, which I think everyone technically guessed this was number 1, which in my opinion, probably should be number 1. We'll debate that when we get there. But number 2 is The Amazing Spider-Man 666 on this list.
Number
145 variants, and I actually have one from my local shop.
Wow.
for their stores on the shop, and it's Spider-Man. It's I believe Ryan Stegman did the cover on that one, and I thought that was going to be number one. But considering you already called it, JB, number one is The Walking Dead.
Walking
I
Dead.
kind of don't really want to count because, in my opinion, they're all second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 4,000th printings. Because if you think about it, and then actually before we recap why there's so many, you want to take a stab at how many alternate versions of The Walking Dead number one exist?
205.
1,000.
You're the 246.
Oh
Whoa.
man!
246.
Wow, that's still ridiculous. Come on, man.
I think it doubled because they did the same thing where they you could, if you're a store, you could give Image a few bucks and then they'd send you a store variant basically. Yep. But additionally as well, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Wizard World once again. Wizard World for I don't even know, maybe 3-4 years running had a Walking Dead number one variant for each con they had. And this is around the time they had 10, 12 Wizard Worlds a year.
Wow.
So, and then not only that, they got to the point where they'd have say Ethan Van Sciver was the guest of honor or whatever. They'd have an Ethan Van Sciver Walking Dead number one. And then if you got the VIP ticket, they'd have a sketch version of that cover. So there were times where you could get two variants of the Walking Dead number one for that specific convention. So what do you think about all these variants on the top 10 most variants of all time?
That's shocking.
That was shocked by that list. Not what I was expecting. No, not at all. Godzilla. Yeah. Come on, man.
Godzilla snuck in there. He's the king of all monsters. Come on.
Man. I agree. The store variant shouldn't count.
Yeah, I think you brought
up. So now let's talk about values. Let's talk about values. Are any of these things worth any more than the A cover when it's all said and done? If there ends up being a key factor in a book, are you better off with a variant or just having the A cover and a 9.8?
Well, I mean, Walking Dead, case in point.
Mm-hmm.
Cover A, 9.8. What? How many thousands of dollars is that right now? None of the
modern era.
None of those variants. It's the number one variant on that list that Carson just listed off, and cover A is the only one that is in that market where it's thousands of dollars at a 9.8. None of the variants are even a blip on the radar right now. So case in point, that's kind of that right there.
Yeah, and like you said,
all right. Well, Chris is calling bullshit on Walking Dead. Let's talk about Spider-Man 666. Same point, 9.8. Would you rather have cover A or one of the bajillion variant covers?
Yeah, it's pretty insane to I wonder. There's probably I bet there's one guy out there because it's a collector's hobby at this point. There's probably one guy out there who's trying to get every shop variant, even though, for instance, my local shop, Vintage Phoenix, they had a variant for that. That's the copy I treasure because it's got my comic book store on it. But there's probably some guy in California or something I need the Vintage Phoenix number one or number 666 variant.
Why you got to go California? What's up with California?
No, I'm just picking on you. But at least with that one, it all came out in the same printing, whereas The Walking Dead came out over the course of a decade and a half of these number ones.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But they don't even count and list the white versus the black mature readers label on that. And I believe that was a printing or an ink error where I think only, I want to say 15 or 20% of that number one cover A run was black ink and the rest was white ink. And the general consensus from the community over the last 10 to 15 years or however long ago was that they weren't considered, one wasn't considered a variant. They were all cover A, but people were willing to pay a premium for the black ink because it was so much more rare.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But yeah, I find with most variants, if there's one you say it's New Comic Book Wednesday and a variant comes out and you're just I need that cover so bad, but it's already a $50 cover or whatever. I would just say just be patient on those types.
Oh yeah, I walk away from them.
Most of that time, if you wait a 6 months to a year, you can get that variant for a fraction of the price.
Now, question: in your current buys, new books right now, are you buying more cover A's or more variants in current new books? I'm buying more variants. Absolutely. Also, I'm absolutely buying more variants.
Yeah.
I'm buying. I cannot stop buying connecting covers for some reason, Because in my mind, someday I'm going to display these. I'm never going to display these. You're never going to display these. But I'm still hooked on trying to get all connecting covers. And most of the time, the B looks better, especially in DC. You know, that B cover is always a nicer cover.
Yeah.
So,
I'm 100% cover A all day long, because then if I fall in love with the story, then I move on to collecting the variants afterwards, because I think I'm at 40 some odd bucks a week in pulls. I'm pulling a very large chunk of what's coming out every week, and I can't keep up with all of the variant covers that come out. I just can't.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is asking a lot from. I mean, that was kind of what I was going to get into at the end of this conversation. Basically, is just like, how does like having all of these variants affect, you know, the market as a whole? Because I feel like there's a quite a bit of oversaturation here. You're asking, you know, retailers to order all these books. So I think that, for instance, I just showed this one. I think that for my shop to get this, they had to order like a cover A, and then they could order a cover B or something like that. I'm still kind of iffy on how DC's structure works for that. But I think you have to go for the cover that no one wants, so you can get to the cover that wants. And like what my shop does is like they'll put the B covers on your pull list for you, but they ask you to put a cover A in your pull list as well, so they don't take a hit on the cover A's that they have to order to get the cover that you need. So you're basically having to pay double and get a comic book you don't want, which means you're probably going to have to like take out an impulse buy book that you would normally have in your pile, perhaps.
Yeah.
So it's just little things like that that I think, you know, kind of affect it negatively. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Like
I agree. I think Marvel's out of freaking control, guys.
Oh my God.
I think they have lost their freaking minds. I think the way that DC does it with just basically all of their main titles getting a B, you know it's going to be a B most of the time. The B's fire. It's perfect. But Marvel seems like on an issue 2, they've got 8 covers. Why, dude? Why do you need 8 covers for issue 2? What's special about it? I don't get it. And so no, I think Marvel's lost their mind. I think it's bad. I personally think it's bad.
Yeah, and a lot of people talk about this being very reminiscent of the 90s. But a quick reminder, they're not printing millions of copies of this or that cover. They're going to print what they think is going to sell, and then they're going to eat what it's not going to print. But they're not printing millions of copies. And I agree with JB. 8 covers for one is just ludicrous. But I feel like we're at this teetering point, you know, and where I feel like it's starting to sway in one direction is I walked into my local comic book shop, and I paid attention to a part of the countertop I've never paid attention to before in the past. That is almost like they've got all their dollar bin diving and all their other bins that you can dive in and find stuff there. They now have a section just for variant covers. So they're getting so many variant covers that aren't selling that they're willing to throw them in all of these short boxes and say $5 a cover. So that's kind of like, man, I mean, I feel like we're on a teetering point. Like, yeah, they're not printing millions of copies like in X-Men 1 in 1993 or a lot of the other stuff out there. But in the same fashion, I feel like they're printing more than the market is demanding right now that people are buying. They're printing more than what most people are buying.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I feel like we are at that tipping point where some of the variants that they've lost their flair. I mean, they took something that made them a good chunk of money, you know, because they turned it into a reader's market to a collector's market. And it's lost its appeal to me, really, on a lot of these variants, because used to, like, only special comics or like #1 issues, you'd have that B cover or C cover. Now it's like Wonder Woman 77 or whatever has to have the A cover plus the Jenny Frison cover, and then eventually it'll hit 750 and it'll have 10 new covers.
Now, don't get me wrong, guys. Don't get me wrong. This is all one title, all variants of #1. I like buying variants at cover price. I love buying variants. I'll say that again. I love buying variants at cover price with different artwork.
What book is that?
Die.
Yeah, there it is.
There are no duplicates here. This is all Die #1 variants, all the way 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th printings, all of them. They're all here. and I bought them all at cover price for my LCS, and that's what I like about the variants. If I get them at cover price, I don't mind collecting them. But the ratio variants for 20, 30, 40, 50.
Now, are you going full blown completionist on die or just number one?
I did the whole thing for die. Like I said, as a completion collector,
goodness, wow.
If it's a story I love, and I limit myself to about 3 stories at a time that I'll do completionist stuff on.
That's going to be expensive.
If I find another one that I absolutely have to get into as a completionist collector, then I'll cull something else out. Like I would probably cull Dull out or Die out at this point, because when they're only releasing 2 covers every week now. So once they got through issues 1 and 2, then they kind of eased it back. But I got every cover of number 1, and I waited, like JB said, I waited 6, 7, 8 weeks and bought a lot of these store variants for a fraction of what they were originally offered for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely the rare exception of when, because I think it was Chris Barrett was saying like he waited for a while to get that amazing 801 Midtown variant, and then somehow that's like one of the ones that just kept going up a little bit for a while. Oh, wait a minute, oh my God.
What?
That's Drew.
There he is.
Hey.
Drew Manchu.
He was hiding in the background.
Baby.
That is the scariest Sasquatch sighting I've ever seen.
What's up, Drew?
He's not even half
muted.
He's on mute.
He's muted.
Thank you, microphone. This is the best microphone Drew's ever had.
The one that's on mute?
Yeah, the one that's on mute. How you doing, Drew? Nice to have you.
Oh, yeah, it's been a long day.
Hey, real quick, can I get your thoughts on Civil War? Let's get Drew's thoughts on the Civil War.
My thoughts on Civil War is I did not have as much fun with it when I read it again.
Interesting.
I still like a lot of what it does in changing the universe and setting things up for what moves forward from it. But the story itself did not hold up as well when you know what's going to happen. That's just how I felt about it. I reread it and then it wasn't that great.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't bad, but not as good as I remember it.
Yeah, I still think the movie's better than the comic.
Oh, I think what the movie does is important.
Sorry, guys. My daughter, she's like, we got to do the lines for the play. My daughter's in a play.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. What kind of play?
Just at school. I actually don't even know what character it is, but it's the big winter play that she's excited about. She didn't get the character she wanted. She got the other character, but she's got lines and there's a song even. So we will be practicing after this broadcast.
That's exciting.
All right. So before we get into next week's redo, I asked you two guys, you want to show off some of them variant covers at random? I know you had a whole stack of variants.
This was
anything else you want to show off real quick before we.
The most expensive variant cover is actually out at CGC, and everyone knows the story of the New Year's Eve drunken fest where I bought that Jay Lee Spider-Gwen in the rain, and that variant cover just got me, man. There was something about it. I had seen it for a couple of weeks leading up to me actually pulling the trigger on it. It was crazy, stupid expensive, and I overpaid for it. But that was just one of those variants that I was like, I gotta have this. This is some piece of art or something that I feel like I really need to have. And I wish I could show it to you now. Hopefully it comes back with a good grade, but I did get it yellow labeled because I got it signed out there.
Ooh, nice.
So we'll see what that comes back.
Cool. Andy, anything else?
I popped off too soon with the whole stack of die, but like you guys see up here, Saga, all fit. 2019 was a year to complete that run for me with them in a lull before they come back. Prices were much more reasonable, in my opinion, than they have been in the past. So I had to make sure that got done this year. That's, like I said, that's one of those stories as a completionist collector. I want to get every cover, and unfortunately, the retailer incentive is the one that'll be something I chase for quite a while at a $200 to $2,400 book. Yeah,
nice. I'll show a couple more. I didn't get a chance to show you, and I know Drew's got some variants over.
I had to get a couple laying around.
A couple.
Yeah. I got this the other day, so I got Serenity issue 3 from that Dark Horse run. And they had 3 variants per issue so they could get all the characters in. But I had to buy the set just to get this one because I've been looking for it for a long time. It's the River Tam Joshua Middleton variant.
Yeah,
Right.
River.
So love me some River Tan. I definitely love me some Joshua Middleton. So I've been looking for this one for quite a long time. And there's the Cassaday Mal variant, by the way. And then we got to show some Art Germ. So
Gotta
this-
have Art
I
Germ.
didn't have
Good
to-
cover.
I still haven't read this book. I still need to.
I
So
all caught up on my X-Men.
Nice.
Oh my god.
Have you read all the way through issue 2?
Yes.
All right, man. What did you think of Fallen Angels?
I liked it. I liked
I
it.
thought it was good too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff going on over there.
There's
I
a
just
lot of
started
good stuff going on.
I just started those 2 tonight, and when Carson sent the link, I closed them and got hopped on right away. So I'll finish those after this.
I'll blow you away though. Guess what my new favorite book right now is?
What's
Thanks to Cat Run.
Ooh,
What is that?
Battle Pug.
Oh, Battle Pug.
Dude,
heard
this
of it.
is hilarious. There's a little girl in here that has like a sailor's potty mouth, and they just black over it. But she is hilarious, and she's super powerful, and there were these mystical horses fucking with her, and she's like, "You will not!" And she started dropping the language, and it's just hilarious, man. The whole first 3 issues have been fantastic.
nice. Drew, what do you got laying around over there? I know
Like,
you got pretty
I
covered.
actually just put all of my books away. They were in stacks and stacks and stacks around the fucking computer desk here. And I just put them all away today, except for this one little stack, which is the last ones that I taped up. But I do have a couple examples of variants that I buy. Like Joker Killer Smile, that's the A cover. That's the Sorrentino. That really fits
Yeah.
the book. But then, like, how do you leave that?
Right?
yeah,
Like,
that's
just
nice.
sit there. Like, okay, $6. Sure. I'll go ahead and buy that.
But still, I don't have bags and boards for these things. I don't got a box for these things.
I
There's
actually just
screwing
bought
up my
bags and boards in a
collection.
box for these things, and I
See,
just haven't.
you
I
could
just
do
haven't
the
been to it.
you could do the whole prestige
I
format.
got freaking Harleen hanging out here. Superman Year One's hanging out right over here.
I
So-
did-
After you again.
I specifically didn't buy them because of that. It's like I want to read this, but I can't do it.
Well, Killer Smile's good. It's worth the buy. It's Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. You really can't. And Jordy Belair on colors. That's I mean, that's like dream team right there as far as like mood in a book. And it's really moody, and it's the way. I mean, it's nothing new, but the way it's executed is actually a lot of fun. And also, I've been buying every single issue of Black Hammer and Justice League, and you get this great Golden Gale Zatanna cover in issue 4, and also in issue 4, this fantastic just Batman just hanging out lonely on the farm.
Nice.
It's a really cool, funny looking little cover. And like that's just 2 issues of number 4.
And that read has supposedly been fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's really good. It's not the best Black Hammer book that's been out in the past couple of years. It's definitely the best Justice League book.
You know, Carson, we missed a very important part of variants that I feel like we should give 2 minutes to.
What's that?
Homage covers.
Oh god, yeah.
Homage
covers.
huge lately.
Cover swipes as well.
Well, no,
Cover
the
swipe.
difference is if it's an homage, if it's an homage cover, it's gonna definitely be credited. If it's a cover swipe, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
That would be the distinction.
There you go.
But still, that's just very
Yeah.
relevant
Which
to the market right now.
that reminds me of an artist I can't believe we didn't even bring up in this whole conversation. Arthur Sodam. Marvel
Zombie
Zombies
covers.
artist, yes. So
Yep.
he did he made his money on cover swipe or not cover swipes, but homage. I can't even talk anymore. Homages of zombie covers.
I like Drew with the homage.
Oh, well, it's pronounced homage, but
I know.
Homage
Bringing
cover.
some class to the show tonight.
you pay homage. It's an homage.
So there you go. Oh yeah, I was gonna show. I forgot. I have the Marvel Zombies hardcover of covers. They made a hardcover. Of
Hardcover
covers.
book of all the covers.
Wow.
Yes. A hardcover.
You
of
get
covers.
Sudan to sign every page.
Yeah, I have signed the hardcover. Yes.
All right, does anybody have a copy of this Chris Barrett Aquaman Jabberjaw cover B?
What's going on?
Chris
No.
Barrett's got an Aquaman Jabberjaw cover B. Has anybody ever heard of this? I've never heard of Aquaman
It's
Jabberjaw.
the crazy Looney Tunes DC Comics crossover books.
He knows it. I knew you'd know it, Seawood.
There's
How
some
do I
crazy.
know you?
There's
You
actually
probably have it. You
Barrett.
might have one signed, don't you?
Probably.
Yeah, maybe in the stack over here.
No, it's got a remark on it. He didn't ask for it. The remark just ended up there, and then there's a full color sketch on the back.
Nice. That'd be
That's how Seawood rolls.
Oh, that'd be great. All right, guys, it's about the top of the hour. So what I want to do now is I want to get this chat going because I apologize. It's been far too long since we acknowledged that chat tonight. I want to see some of those suggestions for next week's reads. So the way we usually do this, for those of you just joining us for the first time, I'm going to put suggested reads in a randomizer. We're going to random it up. We're going to pick the first read that generates, and that's what we'll be reviewing next week on this show. So it usually my restrictions on it, I would prefer it's like digitally accessible or easily accessible for everybody on this panel to read. The chat to read, chat's on both sides. So there you go. If you guys can read it of ease, that way I don't have to go buy like a $200 variant F cover comic book for this. I'd appreciate it. So usually like 5 to 6 issues for the read, a nice run that we can all sit and review for like 10 to 20 minutes. So why suggestions roll in from the chat. Drew, would you like to go over your contest one more time?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let me pull up the branding here.
And let's make sure we hit the box again.
Yes.
Comic Core Smash is the hashtag, guys. How do you enter the contest for the 14-inch Marvel Legends Hulk? You comment on any Comic Core video posted between the 10th of last month and the 12th of next month. And as long as you get the hashtag Comic Core Smash in your comment, you're in. That's an entry. Okay? That's all you got to do. You can enter as many times as you want. Just comment on every video. Can't do it on the live videos. Unfortunately, it's too hard for us to track, and I'm not doing all that kind of work. But I do want to give everybody a chance to multiple entries into this thing. So
minimum of 5 a week, guys.
Yeah, minimum.
Yeah, right?
Paulie's dropping videos.
I know those are great. The Spotlight series,
right? We've got 5 live videos. We've got one to 2 to maybe 3 reviews, depending on how my week shapes up. And we've got Paulie dropping a video a week now. Guys, there are multiple times for you to get entered into this thing. And also, you know what? I'm going to throw something else out there. Follow me on Twitter. Okay, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll automatically be entered into the contest. If you retweet any of my tweets that I tweet out about the Comic Core videos, you will also get another entry into the contest.
Damn.
Very, very simple. Very, very simple. Do that. And, spread the word about the Comic Core. We'll show you some love. Bam. There go a whole bunch of entries in your face.
There you go.
Hell yeah. And those Dragonheart boxes, guys, there's only 13 left.
I got to get one.
Only
all right. So explain to JB exactly how he takes that from 13 to 12. How do I get my hands on one of these boxes?
Okay, so log on to your PayPal account.
Okay.
Go to enter onecomic-core@gmail.com and type in $39.99. It's $39.99. 10 of that goes towards shipping, and $29.99 goes to Paul and his family for Mora and the Dragonheart boxes. And send it friends and family. And
it's actually, I think it's called Someone You Trust now.
Is it? Did they change it recently? Okay.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. But yeah, it's that simple, guys. And there's only 13 left. So half of those have gone in less than a day.
I tell you what, I'm going to get JD and Chad to get me the names of everybody who has bought one of these Dragonheart boxes, because if you buy a Dragonheart box, you get 5 entries to win the Hulk. You get 5 entries just for buying a Dragonheart.
5 entries? Okay,
just for buying a Dragonheart box.
I win that. I'm going to glue that bad boy to my shoulder for every show.
It's going to throw your back out of alignment. This thing is freaking heavy.
Okay, I'll be there in a minute. We're almost done.
I'll use that as an excuse instead of my gut.
You should let her. You should literally let her come on and do it with us.
Look who it is,
Chad.
JB, let her come on and let's rehearse her lines now.
Oh, all right. Hey, Taylor, come here.
Hell yeah!
Because Comic Core
is for the Wait, we can't.
No,
say
we
that.
can't say that.
We can't say that.
Taylor, come here.
We can't say that.
I
Nope.
want to come back now.
Hey, we got to hold off on the
Comic
quote.
Core is not like Wu Tang.
Hold off on the quote.
Fugees.
Do you want to practice your lines? Do you want to practice your lines? in
Come
front of
on.
everybody?
This is a great crowd.
No, you're not good. You want to practice your lines now? I'll put you on the spot. Come on. No, come on.
Make JB big.
Let's just say hi. Just come around and say hi. Just wave.
Pressure forms diamonds,
This
kid.
is Madison. Say hi.
Hey, Madison, how's
Come
it
on
going?
Over here, Taylor. Come here. Oh, no. Don't get comfortable. Don't
Hey,
get comfortable.
Taylor.
This is Taylor. Taylor's the one who's in the play. What part are you playing? What?
Zoe.
Huh?
Zoe.
Zoe?
Zuli.
Zuli. And what's the name of the play?
She didn't tell me yet.
Oh, no, you have the script. What's the name of the play? Come on.
She didn't tell me yet.
Okay. What's your line? Give me one line. One line.
Emeralda's ready.
What's ready?
Emeralda.
Emeralsta's ready? Emeralsta's ready is the line. Okay, you got my ears. Those are my ears.
It's one line.
Two.
Hold on.
Lights come on in the Inn of Bethlehem.
Here we go.
Cozy and well kept inn. Houses of employees.
I don't know if they can hear you, Mom.
Oh, I can
No,
hear
we
it.
hear
A place to create beds where children are sleeping curled up. with blankets.
Okay.
That's right.
Let me see. What's the name of the play?
Doesn't say.
It doesn't say. Really? You got to be kidding me. I think it's Star, isn't it?
No.
No?
Star's a character.
No, I know Star's the character, but that's the name of the play. It was that movie that they just did where the characters, it's the story of Jesus where the characters were all animals. Farm animals.
Oh, you're right. Fifth
Yes.
Comic Corp.
One comic corp at Gmail. All yeah. Okay, girls, thank you. Say bye to everybody. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye. Say bye.
I want to say I hear
Go.
All right.
Carson, you're not waving.
I just jumped in here. I literally just jumped in here to tell you guys that I was going to give you the information about the boxes. There is 13 of them. The people that bought them, there was a great group of guys. Actually, D-Runk actually bought 2, but instead of buying 2, he just donated the other box back to the family. So I want to say huge thanks to you guys for doing that last night. They're $39.99, $10 of which is for shipping only. So $29.99 of that goes directly to the family.
And do we need to make sure to put our address in there?
Yeah, put your address in the pay when you go through friends and family. So JD will have that out to you ASAP.
And if you got a YouTube name, put it in there too, so we can track who I'm giving these entries to.
And by the way, you guys on Modern Men, damn, you guys are hot. You guys are crushing
Yeah,
it.
you know how we do it. Come
So,
on.
I'm gonna get back to editing. Great job, guys. Keep it going.
The only thing I'm crushing is this chair right now. So
No, you need McNuggets and McRibs and milkshakes. That's it. 24/7. I gotta go. I'm out. Peace. Love you.
Bye, Chad. Oh.
I'm out. I'm big.
Vintage Chad, as Michael Cole would say. But anyway, we got some decision making.
It's
All right, well, there's only
Big dog.
12 left now. There's only 12 left. So jump on before they're all gone.
yeah, they're gonna go fast. They're gonna go fast.
All right. So once I figure out how to share the gimmick here, there we go. All right. So we're gonna go with the randomizer here. I went a little wild suggestions because the chat got a little
Wait,
quiet.
can I put a suggestion in there?
Yeah, of course. I got
Black Hammer Volume 1.
Ooh,
Ooh, put it in
yeah,
there.
great pick.
Never read it.
Let's see if
I have
we're
read
within
that.
2
That's
weeks.
great.
So I'll just start with the top. I just went and typed in Cravens last time because I knew Barrett was going to type it again. He also typed in Daredevil by Kevin Smith, which I actually started reading on my own anyway. Drew, how long is X-Men versus Inhumans?
I think it's 8-9 issues.
Okay,
It might
if
be
it's 8
12.
issues, I'll leave it in.
It might be 12. It's
And-
it's actually a pretty quick read, and,
Okay, if it's quick
and it's a
read,
lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty well executed.
okay. So we'll
It's
leave
pretty
that in.
nonsense, but it was fun.
Spider-Man Blue. I went and put in Ultimates 1 through 5. I think it would be an enjoyable read if we can ever get there. Wildcats number 1. We talked about X-Men number 1 earlier, so I went through X-Men 1 through 5. Put it back in Infinite Crisis, just throw some DC in there. Saga 1 through 6, because of Andy, he's just dying to read that. Animal Man 1 through 6 from Jeff Lemire. We were talking about Lemire earlier. Flash Rebirth from 2009, where they brought back Barry Allen. I believe the Mastodon suggested Southern Bastards.
Oh, yes.
That's a good one.
I hope
Death
that
of
wins.
Stacey's came up.
I have not read that.
Batman Death in the Family, which is,
Oh, that's a good one.
I still want my quarterback. Thank you. Ultimate Spider-Man 1 through 6.
You want your quarterback? You didn't vote for him to die?
They brought him back. But anyway, Green Arrow 1 through 6, Kevin Smith run. Youngblood number. I threw a dud in there. We gotta have some duds sometimes.
Youngblood.
One issue. Youngblood number 1. It's in everybody's collection.
If it wins,
Everybody
I'm not
owns
coming
it.
next
Come
week.
on.
I don't want to talk about it.
It might be JB's swan song before he throws that book in the garbage. If it wins. We'll see. I don't know why. I figured it'd be funny. Gotham Central 1 through 6. It's on the app. I think it's a phenomenal read. Chew 1 through 6, Walking Dead 1 through 6, and Black Hammer Volume 1 is suggested by Drew. So here we go. Big moment here. And hit randomize. Craven!
Oh!
After 3 weeks of making the list,
Chris
Chris
Barrett
Barrett-
gets his wish.
we're finally going to read Craven's Last Hunt. I'm
Nice.
actually pretty excited for that. And that's going to be
I
a
can
great read.
get the stupid iPad and actually.
No,
So,
I don't know, man. That's probably worthy of getting a trade? I mean,
Yes,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a good read.
Oh yeah.
Read it last year for the first time. So
all right.
I think we're going to have a really good. We'll have to spend some good time on that one. I think it's 6 issues, something like that, 8 issues. But it's a really good read, so it's definitely worth everybody's time, and hopefully everyone in the chat will participate. Yes, it is.
I just
So-
bought that from the Grand Rapids Comic Con from a dealer who had all 6 issues and very fine plus for a super affordable rate, and I just bloop, clicked it right off. I'm like, I'll take that because I know this is going to come up pretty soon.
Nice. Good stuff.
So definitely looking forward to next week. So we'll get into some closing thoughts here. So we'll go to JB down there first. JB, what do you got going on this week? Where can people find JB?
Let's see. I was sick today, so I didn't do anything and worked that Raider game yesterday. But I am absolutely doing a pop-up shop tomorrow. So we're gonna get back into the pop-up shop action. Always check out the homepage because I have been updating those 2 playlists. Live streams in the comic book community and top picks in the comic book community are constantly being updated throughout the course of the day. If you went there right now, you'd see what was on today, live streams, and what's still coming up after us. So that's what I kind of got going on. And then Thursday, I'm taking the day off, but I heard somebody's going to be doing something special. Drew Manchu kind of dropped the seed that they might be doing something special on Comic Core on Thursday night. So I'll have to be checking that out remotely. But I'll be working a concert Thursday, and then Friday, back to basics and ready for the weekend.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. How about you, Comic Man Andy? Where can people find Comic Man Andy?
Oh boy, I gotta think about this for a minute. You guys can find me here on the Comic Core. Different shows I show up on. Really appreciate that. My own channel. Working on getting close to 250 subscribers. I'm going to do a special giveaway for that, and hopefully I'll get my latest box back from CGC here soon. I got 11 books coming back, so I'm going to do a mega unboxing of that. Also, just this past weekend, we recorded our 3rd episode of the Pinkies Out podcast, Pinkies with a Y. You can find it on all your favorite podcasting apps. I like to use Spotify and iTunes. We just finished that, and that's all about beer. All about beer. So if you guys want to hear about some beer, check it out.
Awesome.
Nice. Solid.
Definitely. Thanks for being on Modern Men once again. Drew Manchu, where can people find you this week? Sounds like you got a lot going on.
I mean, yeah, it's like I started talking to people about some collaborations, and then all of a sudden I'm doing all kinds of stuff all over the freaking place. You can find a review Wednesday evening, probably, from me on the Comic Core, most definitely, and sometime hopefully Wednesday night or Thursday morning on the SNB network. You can find me doing a collab with our friend Comics Misexplained,
Nice.
Manchu Manchu review crew, where we'll do an edited video that we record reviewing one book of the week for us over there on the SNB network. Brought to you by OutrightGeekery.com. They got a lot of cool things going on over there. Also, Thursday night, Comic Core, you got a Bake the Snake, you got a White Whale comic, you got a Drew Manchu, and we're going to be selling you stuff, all kinds of stuff, comic books, well, mostly just comic books. We're just going to be selling you guys some comic books. And I've got to make some room in the Christmas budget. So I might be moving some high dollar items, some things that are of interest to folks. I got a bunch of slabs that I'm going to be letting go cheap. I got a bunch of books that are going to be starting at $1. And you guys know that I buy a whole bunch of stuff. So some of that stuff has got to go. Some of that stuff has definitely got to go. So show up for that. Comic Core Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We're starting it early. Dinner time. Get yourself some pizza on the way home to work. Sit down on the East Coast and buy some books. Get your PayPals ready because I want to make my pockets jingle so I can have a Merry Christmas for the children's and in my home. So we're going to make sure that happens.
Oh, awesome. I definitely can't wait for that. What I've got going on where you can find me this week, I fixed my YouTube URL. So now you can find me at youtube.com/cwoodard19. Finally. It finally qualified to do that. So you can find me there on Instagram, cwoodard19, Twitter, cwoodard19. But tomorrow on youtube.com/cwoodard19, we're going to have the Tuesday night live stream coming back because I got books I need to show off, like something like that as a preview. There you go. Found that book. Yeah. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Nice.
We'll be, I believe, back on the Comic Core after the auction. I don't know the movie yet, but we're going to find another movie to kind of lampoon and watch and have fun together with Catherine Figures and Comic Core chat, and maybe a Great Legend sighting. We'll see. And then that'll be Thursday. Maybe a Comic Man, Andy. We'll see, hopefully.
I might be falling asleep after doing 4 hours of auction and then watching a terrible movie. So maybe me snoring, old school splash page style.
The A show on Friday. I'll be a part of that this week. I'll be making my return after being absent for 2 weeks. So I can't wait for that. I'll try to get those jerks in line over there, straighten everything out, and make it not off the rails, even though I always have to call it off the rails. But coming up on the Comic Core for the rest of the week, he got Golden Guys Tuesday coming up, 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. And Wednesday, something about a great comic show. I think it's like the most adequate comic book show ever. You can check those dudes out over there. Seriously, that was a fun show last week.
Mediocre kind of, maybe great. I'm not sure.
Show ever. I always like to give the Wednesday crew a lot of flack. But
I believe the name of the show is going to be Chris Barrett's in the chat.
Yeah, he got Comics Kids, Bear Island. I think Comics Explains on that show, and White Whale Comics. So they got a great crew over there as well. So check out the new Wednesday show.
And John hangs out on that too, doesn't he? A bit.
What's that?
John hangs out on that too a bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, John's on there sometimes. Absolutely. So
John's on there until he's got to leave early for another show. That's the John gimmick. John's always late, and he always leaves early.
He leaves early and arrives late.
Machine's rolling.